Okay.
Not the red one. I'll write it up.
Fella.
Two IT guys working with me. Don't worry now. One drinks beer, the other doesn't. Good. Good evening, and welcome to the June 26th, 2023 meeting of the Litchfield Board of Selectmen. We've been in a paper review, which we've just come out of, and we'd like to start this meeting off by everyone rising and saying the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The review and approval of consent items. We have an AP manifest for June 20th of 2023 in the amount of $106,816.08, and one for June 27th of 2023 in the amount of $205,819.87. Almost did it again. A PR manifest for June 22nd, 2023 in the amount of $60,323.55, and June 29th, 2023 in the amount of $52,456.83. We have the contract with MRI for the hiring, and a purchase order for Motorola for $37,897.16. Are there any items that anyone would like to move or have any questions about? Seeing none? Oh, go ahead.
Yes, sorry, number 4,
Yep.
the Motorola.
Mhm.
So there's a note underneath, to remove it from the consent agenda so that Mr. Brunel may speak to it, please.
Okay. I don't see a note to remove it.
You don't?
No. But anyways, we'll go with it.
Is this the police
We'll
now?
invite Mr. Brunel to come on up. What's happening?
Want me to make the motion? I'll make a motion to remove this from the consent agenda, the purchase order for the Motorola for $37,897.16.
Second?
I would like to ask Mr. Brunel to update the board on this item.
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon and a second from Mr. Weber. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Now we'll invite you up. That's very unusual.
A little handout, just so I can speak to the numbers, understand what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
A little bit of a change, Bob, from what we talked about.
Okay.
I thought I would print it myself out a copy, but I did not, so.
You can have this.
Oh, he's got it on, yeah, he's an IT guy.
We can share.
Because technology never works when you want it to work, right? So this is sort of a do-over to a request I made back during the opera time, when we were looking about opera funds. And so the board was gracious enough to to support my request to provide the opera funds to replace 4 of the watch guard units, which is in the cruisers. At the time of the request, we were having 4 units that were constantly causing problems. They were end of their life. They needed to be replaced. And there was an additional unit, the 5th and the 6th unit, which the 6th unit is a new one that was added on. We got brought in Cruiser 6 online. Cruiser 8. And the 5th one was one that went into 12 that was brand new. It had about a year left of its warranty, about 8-9 months left on warranty, actually. So after I started looking at all the devices again and going through all the fit-ups, I wanted to check every car out, and when I discovered the one in car 12 has a bad wiring harness, and it actually has some problems with a controller, and quite frankly, it's going to get replaced next year anyway. So I had decided that, well, it makes sense. If I can save somebody in opera, I should be able to get the 5th one and kind of deal with it. After reviewing what the motion was and talking with Kim and Bob, it was decided that it didn't make sense to do it that way, only because the ARPA funds were already declared that it was the amount of dollars that were given to me in the ARPA funds for this project was $25,800. That's not enough to do all 5. That's not enough to do all 5. It's enough to do 4, right? So what I'm coming back for is to ask for some additional funding and a source that I'll explain, to allow me to get all 5 replaced, do the software upgrades that are required to do, which was part of the project, and not touch it any more additional opera funds or potentially even the operating budget. Ultimately, it would come out of the operating budget if we had to, but I don't think we're gonna have to do that at this point. So, like I said, the original request was for $25,800. In the operating fund funding, we had the additional $5,650 for the software piece of it, which we were already planning on doing anyway. That basically gave us $31,450 to spend on the project. After talking to the installer, the original installer kind of bailed out, doesn't have any work, has too much work, can't do it, went back to our sort of stead and fast installer. They gave us a pretty good deal to do all 5 units, or per unit cost, which was great. So the project for the 4 units would be $35,027, again, over the amount. To include the 5th unit, which will make the fleet all brand new, would require an additional $8,594 in funds. So basically, my request is, knowing the total amount, what we have to spend, and the delta, I'm looking for the board to authorize or allow me to expend out of my trust fund, out of the revolving trust fund, a not to exceed number of 15,000. Right now, the numbers look like it'll be 12.2, but I figured it'd be easier to take it and not, you have to use it, knowing that I have to replenish it at some point in time. I would not, at this point, I don't see any reason why I have to go and refund that this year coming up. It could go a year and then refund it, because that'll be the year that we're required to start looking at our capital improvements, which is what that fund's for. And I have no other large expenditures that I would expect to fall out of that. So to me, it's a good use. As I talked to Kim today, obviously, we typically don't take this money out of the revolving until the end of the year, because it's always this savings out places that would help the bottom line of the overall town budget, but that's where I would fund it if that was not available. So again, my ask to the board is to authorize $15,000 to be expended on this project to be finished, coming out of the revolving fund that has $50,201.64. That was the last report that I saw.
The only question I would have on this, and I don't have a problem with it at all, it's just where you're taking it out of the reserve fund and you're saying you don't need to replenish that. Do you feel comfortable with the leftover amount in there, that if something big happened?
So the leftover amount would be $35,000.
Right, so if something big happened.
Right, so the average, in my department, between radios and other things, the most expensive item is probably a storage array, and that's $30,000.
Yeah.
And I don't expect, I got one that's brand new and it's on warranty, right, so I don't expect that to be an issue. We did this a couple years ago, we borrowed some money out of it, do it, and kind of rolled 1 year and then filled it back up, when it made sense to fill it back up.
I mean, we granted these funds out of opera for public safety, and what we're doing is we're getting all the cruisers up to date now, so I support it 100%.
Yeah, and I'll back up and say, if at some point in time there's still remaining opera funds, you want to re-motion the opera funds to provide it versus coming out of that, then I would, that would be fine too. But this is the way I could fund it from based on the things that I have available to me.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clean this way.
I do too.
I don't have a problem with it. Does anybody have anything?
I just have a question. We had a purchase order for this, right? And
Yes.
they're too busy now? Is that what they told you?
No. I have a purchase order, but it was based on my assumption I could use what I had left in ARPA. And after we talked about how it was motioned and how it was allocated,
Okay.
there was some questions whether that would be right or wrong.
I just want to make
I
sure they
think
honored it.
the topic is right for the ARPA funds, but the way the board originally approved it. So I just went back to the drawing board to make it a little cleaner. I think that gives us an opportunity that at the end, if there's additional ARPA funds that haven't been expelled, this would be a way to fill that back, put it back up, but I have a way to do it.
Do the 5th cruiser.
Yeah,
as well.
I just want to make
My
sure
plan
they
would be to
honored
do
the
all
purchase
5, so
Yeah.
I would be redoing the board would have to, I would have to come back to the board for, well, I'm hoping that with this emotion, you can approve that Kim, the town administrator, can just sign it, and so I can place the order, but the new purchase order will be for, $43,621.16. That would be the new purchase order.
Yep.
And that'll cover everything.
I'll make a motion to authorize a maximum of $15,000 from the IT Technology Reserve Fund to allow for the completion of all existing units of the LPD WatchGuard Replacement Program.
We have a motion from Mr. Weber,
I will second it.
second from Mr. Gannon. Any more questions, comments? All right, All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 500.
Thank you again for your continued support.
Thanks, John, appreciate it.
Thanks for doing them all at the same time, too. Now we know
It's
they're all.
actually easier for me to do it that way than it is to scatter it through 2 years.
Yep, okay, perfect. Yep. Okay. So now, we can review and approve the consent items that we just talked about.
So moved.
We have a motion?
Second.
A second,
Yep.
by Ms. Queenan. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 500. Perfect. Any requests for additional items or other business? No? Okay. Public input will occur no earlier than 6:45 PM. All right, under general business, we have public hearing on a proposed policy, naming of a town facility or place. Ms. Kleiner.
So last meeting on June 12th, the board, it was put before the board, a policy on facilities, naming town facilities and land. There was posted and noticed as a public hearing for this meeting to see if there was any feedback from residents on the policy or additions or changes from the board.
Did anybody on the board have any questions about this?
I
Yeah.
just have a question. Because it was bothering me about a family member maybe not wanting the name. So when I read this, renaming the facility, you have item number 2 there, which is good. I like it, yeah. Stage number 2, you had 30 days, they had 30 days to follow up or something. Can we add that same thing, this 30 days, so if a family member finds out, they have time to at least get in front of the board? So down in, so down here, when you have renaming a facility on page 3,
Yep.
number 2 says the community will have 30 days to comment on a proposed name change.
Mhm.
Can we add that up top here to maybe make a 3.5, reshuffle it? So the naming committee will review all the names submitted by the community, right? And then give 30 days for somebody to respond.
I don't have a problem with that change.
Did you get into the procedure at the beginning, right?
Mhm.
You have 1 through something, 9? So if you could just add,
Okay.
if you can add 3.5 or reshuffle the numbers, but this, so after they all meet, somebody made a request, right?
Yeah.
And then they go forward, there's still 30 days for a family. I don't have to make it 30 days, but make something, so the family can at least weigh in if they want it or not.
30 days is pretty standard. I would go with that.
But I don't know if they have to pass this by legal again, I don't know.
So I did go back and ask the question after the last meeting. And the thought process was that the naming process, if it's a submission from the community, it says that they submit something in writing to the town administrator, which brings it to the board, of course.
Yep.
More than enough.
That could be a part of the conversation that maybe we have privately. Have you consulted with all your family members? Are all your family members in full support? So that before it comes forward in a public process, that might all be flushed out. Our concern was that it would come forward in a public setting, which may not be the correct time for.
The outside group.
But
to
again,
get
families fight, and you know what I mean, they might say they might say everybody consented, but somebody did not, so I'm just trying to, I may be outvoted, but I just think waiting 30 days to see if somebody wants to make something in writing, maybe it's not public, or maybe come see the board, so it stays, Again, we have to be transparent though, so I have to be careful about that, so, yep. So again, I'm trying to respect somebody who just does not want their name, even though the community loves them and they don't want a bridge named after them or a park or whatever, that the family might say that they wouldn't want that.
Are you concerned that they will not be engaged during the initial?
Well, they're dead, so they have no input.
No,
So
I'm
thinking
saying
the family
the
is
family
all
member
done.
that doesn't agree with naming like a park after somebody, do you believe that they will not be engaged during this initial?
It just said somebody from the community can do it.
Which, if they feel that there's something that they don't, that person who doesn't want his name engaged needs to come in and speak up to that person who brought it up.
But they won't know.
I think it's common respect just to reach out to the
Yeah.
individual and the family to make sure it's something that they're comfortable with.
But if somebody in the community just puts it forward, the family might not even know what happened.
I see your point, I just, I don't know if.
And I like what
practicality will
you
ever-
said last time, most people agree they want the park.
Yeah.
But again, some people are modest and may not. And I'm not even saying a park, I'm saying a street, well,
Anything,
not
yeah,
street,
not a
anything,
street,
building.
yeah.
So, yes, I just don't think the family has a way, it says number one here, that a written submission from the community. So the family has no idea it's happening.
But that could be a problem if you want to, if the guy, let's say he developed some land and he named the road after the family. You're saying now we gotta go through another step.
I'm just saying, give the family 30 days, or somebody 30 days to come back.
To provide input. I mean, I think it's something good to go do.
Or 15 or something, but,
I think
30 days.
because it'll be public notice, it'll go out, right? It'll be, so somebody will read it and say, oh. And you're probably right,
I
most
hope
want
that
it.
person who wants it
And
done would
typically,
communicate with
like the
family.
way it's worked so far is somebody's gotten together, they've talked to the family first, and then they brought it forward, like we're gonna
Correct.
name the parks, and, but I do understand your point that they may decide, let's dedicate this to someone, and the family's like, no, we don't want that dedication.
Oh, no, they wouldn't have wanted
Or
that.
they wouldn't have wanted that.
But that's the personal matter.
Yeah, but they're dead. They can't tell us.
Speaking about the dead, that's still a personal matter.
I was like,
So she's just saying give the family.
just give
Time to-
family time to
opportunities
shine.
to
Now,
provide
if they're having fights and nobody's agreeing, then you go forward, but at least listen, but.
I like it. I think it's a good idea.
So now you're concerned about being public.
Is it after number 5?
Number 3, I thought, but I put 3.5, but if you think it's better in the process later. Because step 1, the community comes forward and submits that they want a rename or something, right?
After vetting, and yeah, that's a good place.
Then
for it.
there's a vetting, right?
The vetting and consideration, we recommend the board.
So then the board's happy,
Yeah.
that they think it's a good thing, so maybe they come out with a letter saying, this is what's being proposed, 30 days for commentary or something. 30 days to comment, unless you think number 5, you would go down from 3 to 5. The Board of Selectmen may choose not to submit the recommendation.
Don't you think it would be within 2 when you're actually doing the research?
But you still have to research and come up with an answer, whether you want to go forward,
Or
because
one or
4
not,
says you
but I
may not
mean,
even come
So
forward.
before you get to 3, maybe,
I wouldn't even give it, I'll leave it at 2 at the most.
But you have to make it public, that they have a chance, because 3 says you're going forward, 4 says you're not going forward.
correct, so it's somewhere between 2 and 3. Because you want to do it during the private part where you're discussing it.
But who do you know how to reach out to? I'm saying they're gonna get a public information that it's gonna happen. So the naming convention will review all the names submitted by the community, and after vetting and consideration will recommend it to it. Then the board may select not to submit it or to submit it. So to say not to submit it, that means they had to listen to other people. They did their own vetting, but maybe something else came in.
The number 4 is the Board of Selectmen will receive the recommendation of a committee and allow 1 month to receive feedback and public comment. So at that time, when it's been made public, the family member could choose to just email the board.
But why would we want it to get that far
Yeah.
if the family hasn't had a chance to have input? That's why I think it needs to belong somewhere within 2.
But how are they gonna know?
How are they gonna know?
Well,
I think if the naming committee's talking about it, part of their process should be reaching out to the individuals.
But you don't know who they are.
But there's
But if
two,
somebody
They get
submitted,
married, you don't
but
know.
if somebody submitted the name,
But it could be anybody in the community.
I
but
would,
they're submitting the name of an individual, right? So once the name is submitted of that individual, now you know the individual that they want to name it after, so you
Yeah.
can reach out to that family at that point.
We have to find them. I'm just saying, hopefully
Correct,
they're
so you have
not
to
married
find-
and you know their
So
name.
it's somewhere between 2 and 3.
I don't care where it is. I just want to make sure in the public, somebody sees it in passing and goes, they want to name it after Dad? Well, Dad wouldn't want that.
I'll be honest, I don't think it's our matter. Okay, if that group or that person of that group decides to do something, the family who's gonna oppose it is gonna have to speak up.
but they might not know it's being
Yeah,
submitted.
so-
Oh, I'm pretty sure they will.
So what Kim is saying is, say a group gets together, somebody comes and says, I wanna name Kevin Park.
No,
But your family says no.
What do you think?
But you don't know they're gonna name it. They
It's
haven't
all-
engaged you
All
yet.
I'm gonna have is lynching ropes around it, but that's beside the point.
Kevin, stop.
so I think I see another problem.
The point
So,
is, you wouldn't be
between one
notified
and
until
two,
later.
I know, but still.
right?
Yeah.
The written submission comes from the
Makes no sense
community
to
to
me.
the town administrator. It needs to go to the board, cause the town administrator can't
Right.
put it to the naming committee, only the board can do that. So at that time,
They
it
could
would
send
be
it to you and
announced.
bring it to us, is what it could be.
Right,
So
so
at that time, we
this,
could verify that the family has been,
and then the
contact.
naming, then it would be public.
Good, whatever, as long as they have
Alright,
a
well,
reason to chime in.
work that section.
So where are you gonna put it? Between 2 and 3 or 1 and 2?
Had to be through one and
between-
two.
1 and 2.
Between 1 and 2.
So it's already vetted.
It becomes public,
So it'll be vetted before it comes to.
and then the naming committee can
Okay.
take it from there.
We'll simplify the
Does that
process.
sound good?
Okay, yep.
Thank you.
How do you
But
know?
I don't know if you need a vote on that.
No.
Or
Just a
input.
public,
We just tweaked it.
public hearing right now, so anybody can give input.
Does anybody in the public wanna say anything? Hello there. Come on up.
Sure.
Is this
What about
it's
her?
not your spot yet, but,
I don't have enough chairs.
Bob, it's not your spot yet, but, no.
You did say
No,
that.
we're still talking about the naming of the facility.
Anyone in favor,
How do I
anyone
go
against?
back? How do I go back? Facility name and
Yeah.
profile, right here, get out of that one.
Anyone wants
There we
to give
go.
input.
All right. So good?
I'm good.
Is that good for you? Okay, good. All right then.
Close the hearing.
Next up,
Close the
yeah, with that being said, we'll close the public hearing at 6:54. And we'll move on to approval of the June 12th minutes. Anybody have any,
Yes, I do on that.
all right, go ahead.
Okay, so
There you go.
I just have a concern. I've read the minutes in detail. I do think there's a little bit of key content missing, and items stated that were not reflected on the tape, because I went back and looked at the tape today. There are matters of opinion which exist and need to be removed, and there's a section where follow-up is not included, which may lead a reader to specific conclusions. So I would just like that, due to the extent of the changes, which again, I just want all of us to just look at again, I just want to make sure I'm seeing the same thing you all are. I recommend we review the minutes and the tape and have a recollection of the members and just make sure everybody agrees before it goes out. So it's not a lot of things, but I just want to make sure we're all agreeing. And I watched the whole 4 hours and 23 minutes, so I thought the meeting was actually longer than that. So, and again, I want to just say for Matt, who's out there, you usually do a great job. So I just want to make sure, you do. Your reputation is sterling, but I just want to make sure what I'm seeing.
Before I sign those things, I read, he gets them out quick.
You know, and it's a legal
One of my
document.
pastimes is trying to read that and stay awake, okay?
And I only bring it up because it's a legal document. I want to make sure it's correct.
That being said, I think it's probably a good idea for us to push this off to the next meeting, and that give us a chance to review it.
I read it, but I'm
Anybody have
okay
an
with
issue
it.
with that?
None whatsoever.
All right, so be it.
Thank you.
All right, so next up, Veterans Pavilion update. Now you can come up. You're always welcome.
you bring your muscle with you.
We have some special guests today from the Litchfield Veterans Committee.
And I feel bad. I don't really want to-
Let me just move that chair off to the side so it's safer.
I'm good. Wait, let me give you a copy here.
Oh, yes, I've seen one of these
How
before.
are you, sir?
Better roll yourself.
Huh? Oh, I already know what it looks like. It was received soon.
You have enough? I could share with Kevin if you don't have enough.
I brought mine, yes, thank you.
You wanna tell me?
Name of it.
I'm Bobby Jacques from Litchfield Veterans, and my cohorts behind me are.
Commandants of Litchfield Veterans. Light, Litchfield Veterans.
Just pull up a chair, but don't sit there.
Come on.
I've been sitting all day.
I understand.
We went to the planning board. First of all, thank you for letting us come by again. We went to the planning board, and Kim was so, the town administrator was so good to get us on there. Kim was there, and we presented this proposal here to them. Jerry Sorensen, who put this all together, has had surgery, so he's not going to be able to be with us today, but we're all set, ready to go. All we need to do is get your approval, and then we have to have an open forum, I guess, for the naming. I don't know when that is going to be. Do you have a date for that yet?
With the,
This is it.
This is it?
This is it.
Okay. Once this happens after this year, then we're going to go forward and we're going to start,
Before you do that, I'm gonna make a motion that we open this up to a public hearing for the Veterans Commission and their pavilion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Sorry, go ahead.
once we get that, our goal is to have this thing all put together and have a dedication on 10 November. And I keep you informed as we go through it on everything. Jerry's already worked a lot of the site stuff with our folks here within town. We're gonna get some help with that. I just went to 2 or 3 granite places in the last 4 days, and I think we have the final price that we're gonna do. So we're gonna have 6 5-foot stones. This is what they kind of look like. They'll have a base will be kind of a blue base on the bottom, and they'll come and put them all in with a crane after we have everything erected. So we're hoping to get all 6 in, everything done before the 10th of November, and have a dedication ceremony, which is the day before we have Veterans Day. And that's open to the town. Cut the little ribbon, give you the big scissors, and you own the whole process, and off we go. And it'd be a great opportunity for us to go ahead and say thank you to the citizens of Litchfield for what they have done to support us. And we have a great relationship with so many different organizations as we move forward, and we're just glad to do the things that we can do. You know, when we first joined the military, you have bologna and Kool-Aid, and then as you graduate and get moved on to life, you kind of want to give back that now you can do better than that for us, and that's what we want to do.
So the grant is gonna be one for each branch?
1 for each service, yeah. Army, Navy, six
Yeah.
total,
That's right,
yeah.
Space Force.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah, we have
forget that
Space
one.
Force as well, yeah.
Yeah,
You got the Air Force, the Space, Coast Guard, and you also got the Navy, the Marines, and the Army as well. Question I have, how long is the building?
20 by 40.
40. I can't, okay, it's 40. That's a number I never saw.
Inside pavilion.
yeah.
It's all steel.
All steel construction,
Okay.
yeah.
So what,
It's
Russ?
important to note that this is being done by the Veterans Group at no cost to the taxpayers whatsoever. They
Yeah.
raised the funds, the money's there.
Right.
They just need us to give them the green light to do it. And they've got the process all lined up.
This is great.
And it'll be allowed for people to have,
It belongs to
Functions or
the
something?
town, yeah.
they have
They,
to check with
I
the
think,
town.
I think the town administrator was gonna get with DPW, if I call Mr. Brown, they were gonna kind of get together and they were gonna kind of manage that whole process, so who knows who's coming in, who's not going in, and who's going out, and making sure that it stays like it should be, and, you know, I think it'd be a great addition to this facility right here, and then more to come, you know,
Yep.
so.
Perfect.
That's great.
I love the idea, but the building inspector's coming out of me for many years of being one.
I think Jerry's already talked with the building inspectors
Okay,
already.
because I see a steel building on a slab.
Yes,
Okay. I'll talk to the building inspector.
What's your concern?
Well, you just can't put a steel building, you gotta get into frost protection, so you may have to put pylons down.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they
Piers.
didn't do that.
Well, I'm just asking the question, that's all I'm saying.
Yep.
yeah, I'm sure.
The slab doesn't bother me, but your piers that supporting the main structures is different.
Yep.
There's a 4-foot frost wall protection. Or
Sure,
frost
Jerry
pier.
has it covered.
Yeah, Jerry's a
I believe,
pretty good architect, yeah.
I believe Jerry's got this worked out, 'cause
I do
he's an
too.
architect, he's been working with those guys.
An architect?
Yes, he is.
Yep.
Oh, that worries me, okay.
He's a certified architect
I'm just kidding.
And got
in New
licensed in New
Hampshire,
Hampshire.
and Massachusetts, and Arizona, and
Yeah.
whatever, you know.
Oh, my God, Arizona, they don't have frost.
He was on active duty, he won more awards
Mountains they
than
do.
most people could ever see, so he's really.
I'm just asking
Great.
the typical questions a New Englander would ask, you know?
So directly underneath the pavilion will be
We're done.
concrete, and then the
Yeah.
perimeter would be
Yep,
asphalt.
Right.
yep.
Even, good access where people can drive in, especially if they have handicapped people and folks like that. I think it's better that way there, so it's
Get
gonna
them a
be,
way to get them in and out.
yeah.
Nice curb, yeah.
So under the pavilion, are you gonna have picnic tables? Or what's gonna go there?
Well, I guess we'll get some people to donate them or something,
No, it's
you
a
know?
nice area for that, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure, you know, some folks that we talked about, you might want to get the picnic tables that are like, almost like metal, you know, they're kind of like, they got little holes in them, so they don't fall apart, and it's really good. Takes 4 people to pick them up and move them, you know? They cost-
Right?
That's the best way to do it.
It'd also be
don't
great
walk
to
away.
reconfigure it in any way you need. You could put chairs in there if you wanted to do
Yeah,
something.
you can
with
move them
chairs,
out, you can move them
out.
in, you can do this,
Yep.
you can have an event, you can, you know,
It's an open fee, it's an open structure.
yeah, you can have
Do whatever you
ceiling
want with it.
fans, you know, you can have concerts to let the whole neighborhood come, you know, you can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Sorry for my questions, but it's my upbringing.
Have the farmer's market there, you know.
Fantastic.
Looking ahead.
And they did go in front of the planning board already, too. That went very well.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
The planning board done, they'll just do their thing.
Yeah,
Very well received.
You're gonna have lighting in there, right?
and it's gonna be, as Mr. Brown would say, it should be motion detected lighting, so the folks across the street doesn't stay on all the
That was gonna
time.
be my
Yes.
question. Please make sure they go off at
Good
night.
point.
Yes, he said that, right? I mean, there's a lot of input as we go forward, you know, in the next several months to kind
I'm
of put
surprised
this
they
together.
complain about the firehouse and all their lighting.
But, you know.
They have. Okay, good.
Does anybody have any questions?
This is for all of it.
For all of it?
Yeah, yeah. Veterans
Like
Park,
a
right, yeah.
Sure, 'cause I don't need one, you don't.
So you're gonna,
No, I think it's great.
Steve?
Appreciate all the work you
I-
guys did.
I like it.
I'm all for it. I'm 100% for it for my
Think we should make a motion,
remarks and
right?
I think you did.
Okay.
What, for the name?
I think you didn't
No, to
For the-
approve the building of the
Veterans Park?
Veterans Park for
Okay.
the town?
I'll make a motion that we approve the building of Veterans Park at Liberty Way.
I will second that.
We have a motion from Mr. Weber and a second by Mr. Gannon. Any more comments, questions? Kevin, you're looking disturbed.
No, I'm not disturbed. I'm
Just a natural
fascinated.
look? Okay.
You
All
fascinated?
those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 500. Congratulations, guys.
Well, thank you, we appreciate that. And it's been a long time coming, so thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate all your hard work and everything you
Everything
do.
you do.
Congratulations. Oh, you're doing all the hard work.
Okay.
Thank you.
I gotta go and shake your hand because you ran away.
That was done on purpose, Kevin.
What's this one? Oh, this is Jason. That's good.
Up next, we have the old fire, actually, you know what, we're gonna do the,
Appointment.
yeah, we're gonna do the appointment to the Litchfield Planning Board of Jared O'Connell. Jared, would you please come up? I know you like sitting here watching all this going on, but this will be quick and easy. All right, so, where are we at?
Down
Let's see
below.
here. Do we have a motion for this?
Yes, it's down below,
Below social media?
and there is a,
Oh, yeah, because you moved them down. Okay, here we
yes,
are. Here we
appointment
are.
We'll
application.
find them.
So, tell us your name and your address and.
Hello, I am Jared O'Connell at 6 Nesmith Court.
Yeah. Throw a rock.
Okay, so, welcome and, thanks for wanting to be on the planning board.
No problem.
What, brought you to this?
I've been a resident of Litchfield for just about all of my life, and I've been interested in the planning and developments in Litchfield, so been watching the meetings and stuff for a while, and yeah, I think it'll be a nice fit for me. Hopefully I can take into account the hopefully I can represent the residents of Litchfield and take into account all of the necessary components and interested parties like the residents, business owners, and the state.
Yep.
And yeah, that's it.
Does anybody Anybody got anything for him?
Yeah, he came in front of the planning board already. We liked his analytical background, and we also like that one statement on his application, which I think he did hint to, but balancing the goals of the various interests, because that is a tough thing to do.
Yeah, and I've also read the New Hampshire Planning Board Handbook and skimmed over
He's already reading.
the towns.
Wow.
He's excited.
They grow up so fast.
They do grow up so fast.
Anybody have any questions for him?
I like the idea that you're gonna get an age limit, an age difference on boards today. Because there are certain people out there that get to a certain point in life, it's no, when they grow up. At a younger age, it's more open. Thank you.
Glad I could participate.
Steve?
I am good. I think it's great. Thank you for stepping up. Thank you for wanting to help, give back to the community.
I echo Steve's words.
All right, we'll entertain a motion to appoint.
I'll make a motion to appoint
Yeah.
Jared for full member, right, of planning board. Yep.
Full member.
Do you know when the term expires? March of,
It was there,
because I'm sure he's taking over.
yes.
Yeah, it doesn't have the expiration date on it.
It doesn't. I don't.
Okay, that's fine.
I believe he's
Is it a
taking,
2 or 3 year commitment? I forget. 2 or 3 year commitment. I forget. We were on it.
No,
think it's 3
Steve's
year.
right, Mr. Webber's right, he's taking an open,
An open
A
spot, so I was
spot.
just curious
Yeah.
on when that one expired, yeah.
yes.
Whose spot is he taking?
Well, there's a couple different ones you could take.
The, assistant,
James Buffetti.
thank you. Yes.
We just put him on 2 years ago, right?
So
This
it's,
might be a one-year term.
he's been on for a bit, because he was on when I was still doing it.
Yep.
You got bored.
I don't remember when we
I'll have to
reappointed
look
him.
him up.
And when that term expires, is there just a formal process to?
It's very informal, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out.
You just want to
right
stay
now.
on, a recommendation comes to us, and we reappoint.
Yeah,
Reappoint.
I'll pull it up right now.
What it does is it allows it staggered, so you don't have a fresh board every time. It's usually, what is it, a board of 7? Is that what I saw?
Planning is 5.
5?
5 and then
With
couple
two
alternates,
alternates.
2 alternates,
Five
and 3
and two
alternates.
So it's usually 2-2-1.
2, 2, 1, yeah, so it's probably 2-year term.
3 years, right?
It's usually, I thought it was 3 year term.
3 in this one, yes.
Yes.
2, 2.
Beautiful.
You'll survive it.
Bear with us for a minute.
He's
Yeah.
gonna love it. He was already up at that board.
Give him the longest term we have.
So, unfortunately, that's the term that's open,
Buffetti?
is Mr. Ben.
Yep, because we had,
Mr.
So,
Buffetti's.
Jeremy Robitel picked up the other, Robitaille picked the
Oh,
other
that's
one.
right, that's right.
We're just appointing him to be an alternate, or?
No, full member.
No, full member.
Okay, good.
Full
it's just-
member.
The board consists of 7 members and 3
So,
alternates. So it
Mr.
should be 7.
Bonfetti ended in 2024, so
So
you are
it's-
correct, it would
so
be
it's a
next
one-year
year.
appointment? Okay.
Yep.
It'd be a 1 year and we could reappoint.
Yep.
Then we'll redo it again.
Okay.
So you're on
Sounds good.
probation for a year.
Just like school.
So just amend it to the March of 2024.
You wanna redo it?
Sure.
Or
You want
just
me
amend it?
to be what, March 2024?
Yeah, March 2024.
All right, I recommend Jared to be, I guess, appointed to the planning board as a full member until March and the exact day, 2024.
I will second.
The motion from Ms. Queenan and the second from Mr. Weber. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Welcome and good luck.
Okay,
Thank you
you.
so much, appreciate
Some
it.
good people on that board. They'll teach you well.
Thank you.
I have a question before we move on.
You have a
though.
question, go ahead.
Just about the form itself, way back burner. The form's a little old. It's still, if you go to the center and go to the base, it's missing some commissions and boards. Does the Heritage Commission use this?
The,
And Capital Improvement Plan Committee? I don't know if they
I
use
don't
this or
think they
not.
do.
I don't believe they have.
Okay, good. I just-
But not
Make
to
sure.
say that they couldn't, so we should add it anyways.
And then I don't know if Cable Committee's still around?
They are not.
And then And I love the mosquito group. Should they be on there? I don't know. So anyway, but add the Heritage Commission, if this is the form, add the Capital Improvement Plan Committee.
I don't know if-
Where? On this form I'm looking at?
Just haven't
I don't see it here.
No more mosquitoes.
Oh, so they're out of sync. So he fills out a paper one that's just out of sync.
That's
All
common
right, so we need
practice.
to just synchronize those then, right? Yeah,
It's the full application, John. It's not the one that's online. Yeah, it's the full one. We'll have Donna update it and.
yeah. So the middle of the first page says what committee you want, check off the box. And then on the bottom, it gives you a description of the committees.
Yep.
So, and I don't see mosquito committee there, but I don't know if we're supposed to see one there or not. I just went to the town website and looked at boards and commissions, so if you could just have a discussion of who should be there, I just want to make sure.
We'll do.
And maybe it's not the right form, but, okay.
Jared will have to see the town clerk
Not-
too.
Yes, we'll
see Terry.
Terry and I will contact you on getting you to come in and
Gotta
be
get sworn
sworn
in.
in.
Sworn in, not at.
But
From the original form, right?
we do.
All right. So we'll check into that and we'll talk about that down the road, get that squared away. Okay. So next up, old fire station beautification. We have Mr. Brennan back with us.
Two?
Oh, we're gonna have to share.
You get two?
Awesome.
Thanks, Jay.
Are they the same?
Yep, it's the same.
Oh, they're the same? Oh,
One each.
They're all the same.
thought he said two.
That's why you did 2, 2, and 2.
That's right.
2 and 2. Chuck Woolery.
Hi. Are you here for what?
Yep.
Okay. What you got, Jay?
Jason Brennan, 23 Aldrich Street. Follow on to our last meeting, just to give a quick update. Was here at the last meeting with a proposal to beautify the old fire station. In April, I talked to the Historic Society. They sent me notification that they voted on a certain plan for the fire station. I came and presented that plan. Then when I got here, there was some confusion. Then I went and talked to the Historic Society. There was way more confusion. I asked them to re-vote, and they re-voted on, I believe it was Saturday.
Yeah.
And if you look at number 2 right there, the Historical Society voted on 6/4/2023 for beautification of the fire station with the option to install horizontal siding on the entire front of the building, top and bottom. If you look at bullet item number 3, the stucco cement, at the bottom, the vote involved or recommended covering that up with the vinyl siding at the bottom, all running horizontal. Project costs related to this, the upper half, both the upper half and the bottom half are about $2,500. And if you look at bullet item number 5, we would take care of the top half and we would pay the contractor directly. With the bottom half, we're looking to request to use the $2,500 in beautification funds that have been sitting there for about 5 or 6 years. Think it would be a good use of it. We could save about $1,000 if we install the strapping ourselves, Kevin, on the bottom half.
I understand.
Wants to do that. And so that's what I'm here to present and see if I can get approval to start getting this moving, scheduled and moving.
Now, I notice you show window grids on the upper windows.
Yeah,
They don't have grids on them now.
I would probably see if we could try to find them and put them in there.
I don't know if they have, I don't know if they're around.
You mean grids for the windows?
Yeah.
I mean, with the nine light?
Yeah,
They do make them for any size you can get them.
yeah.
Just give them the glass size, if you go to granite state glass, or they give them in vinyl today. Just cut them and they'll custom it right for the whole job. Common practice in that area. Sorry, Bob.
No, that's fine.
You don't have to paint those.
Only if they come the right color.
Just for clarification, because it looks good, they said the doors were red and the shutters are all that nice green.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
And they just weren't sure about the siding cost, if it would be the front or as much as you could go. They just weren't sure of that, but whatever you're gonna do, they
It
just,
says the front of the building.
just the front only?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, they didn't know how expensive. And I thought they mentioned that you're gonna replace the ones on the top to be, they're 8 inches now, but you wanted to match the town hall or something like that? Some different size vinyling or something?
The vinyl, I talked with the vinyl guy, the vinyl would most likely match what the old town hall and what the church looks
Nice.
like.
Yeah, it's
The
like a
same,
4 inch.
same thing.
4 inches, if I recall, yeah,
Nice.
4 inches.
That current vinyl is not historic in nature, it is falling apart, it's dented. Steve Gannon and I tried to
It's
pull
probably
the,
aluminum.
yeah.
It's
It
aluminum,
is,
right?
it lasts a long timer.
Yep.
Yeah. Better than vinyl today.
So he will strip it, right? He's not going over what's there.
He would pull that vinyl down. I had him take a look underneath the vinyl. This is Craig DeCorky, and he
Yep.
looked underneath the vinyl just to make sure it looked pretty cool behind the scenes. He said it did, and so it would take it all down,
Okay.
install from
Was it-
scratch,
it's
we'd be good
probably
to go.
Black, felt paper over it, right, underneath?
We could do that, yeah.
I'm just asking, was there any of that there? You didn't see it,
I
okay?
didn't,
Probably
yeah,
not.
oh.
It all depends on what time of year. The old timers used to use black felt all the time.
Mr. Chair, regarding the accoutrements that you see in the photo here, the grid and the little lights and all that type of stuff, we could figure that out at a place and time to be determined.
Yeah, great.
I'm just pretty much now looking to see if we can lock in the vinyl siding piece of it just to get that scheduled because, you know, the deal with this could be a few months out.
I'll make a motion to utilize $2,500 in beautification funds for the beautification of the old fire station.
A motion from Mr. Weber,
I'll second it.
second from Mr. Lynch. Any further discussion?
I just have one other question.
Yep.
What's happening with the were there antennas on the roof? Are they staying or going? I don't care, but
Down, right,
are
eventually?
they coming down?
There are antennas on the roof right now. At the last presentation that I made, I just threw a suggestion out there. Wink, wink, point, point to the guy right back here. To maybe at some point in time, we can get those off of there.
So they're not really functional? They're just left over?
They're not
Oh,
doing
okay.
anything, so they can just be pulled down? All right.
No,
That was just-
tower
that
and
was another
everything's gone
question.
back there.
There's a cost.
There's a cost?
There's a
Why?
substantial cost.
For some,
Oh, it
for
is?
somebody to come in and do it?
Yeah, because it'd be
Yes.
crane to pull it all down, reseal the roof, take all the wiring off, safety issue.
I'll get up there with a socket wrench.
There's a liability issue.
Phone calls.
Is it safe? There's, okay, well,
We'll handle that.
that's another question for another, yeah.
Well,
Let's
if-
focus
if
on
we can
getting
get the lift,
Yeah.
that cuts the cost in half.
Yep.
So that's it. I mean, I would recommend you do not try to take it down yourself.
That's probably quite heavy.
Well, it is, but we did put it up with 3 guys years ago.
It can be cut and cut and.
Cut and
into
taken down in
pieces and
pieces
taken down
too.
and make it a lot easier.
That's how it would come down anyway.
Yep.
Sorry, I don't want to interfere
Phone call
with
to somebody.
Jason's
Next.
project.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. And the only other thing I would say is just make, when you get to doing the lights and stuff on the front, just talk to the Historical Society, make sure it's something that they think is, you know,
I want a little fire
relevant to
truck
the time
lights.
frame.
You would like what?
Little fire truck lights,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, so, all right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 500.
Mr. Chair, it might be back in, if we get this done, potentially, we could think about putting a sign to replace where the Litchfield Fire Department sign was there. Don't know what it'd say,
Building, yeah.
don't know what color it would be or anything like that, but it just might like kind of break it up a little bit, make it look cool.
Plus it'll give us a little historical fact of what this was.
There you go.
Yep, they do have that sign out in front of the Historical Society, you could maybe kind of copy off of that or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, the beige with the maroon color.
All right. Got some ideas.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Perfect, thank you, thanks for everything you do.
Thanks, Jake, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yep. All right, so. Kind of went out of. We're at number 5. Transfer of fire impact fees for fire station bond payment. Ms. Kleiner.
During the budget process, the budget committee cut the budget, $25,000 from the principal bond payment for the fire station. This was so that additional space could be opened up so that they could make some important votes upon some warrant articles that were going to town meeting. They asked, and we had told them at that point that we believed that we could replace the $25,000 in the budget from $25,000 in fire impact fees, which is an acceptable use. So we are asking the board to vote to allow us to use $25,000 from the fire impact fees, which will be put with 110 out of the budget to make the principal payment of 135. And it is due in July, so we need to.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions, comments on this? Okay. We'll have, recommend a motion?
I make a motion to approve the use of account 08-4199.08-9999 fire impact fees to make a payment of $25,000 to the fire station bond payment.
Motion from Mr. Weber,
Second.
second from Ms. Queenan. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, so, let's see, easement and, what's that, Kev? You say something?
Oh, I burped, I'm sorry. No, this is the access easement we're talking about that goes to the old ball field back there.
Yeah.
The one with the
Next,
stockade
we have
fence.
easement and fence replacement from Eversource. Ms. Kleiner.
So we have spoken about this a little bit, and I believe that a recreation has been made aware. In exchange for replacement on the entire right-hand side of Brickyard, including several panels which Eversource never touched during their recent work. In exchange for that and installation of a gate to their new structure, they are asking us to grant them an easement to get to that structure for additional work. So no longer will they need to take down any of the fence. There will be an 8-foot gate that will be there that they can access. Excuse me. We have said that the original conditions that we had on their work when they were in the right-of-way this time would still exist, meaning they would have to notify the town that they are going to be going into the property. No storage of any vehicles or equipment could be left in the right-of-way. If any gravel is disturbed, that would need to be replaced. So we've worked all of that out. The easement documents that you see in front of you have been reviewed by our legal counsel.
My question.
And the fence quote is there. It's approximately a little over $11,000, or almost $12,000, excuse me, that they will be installing. This has been reviewed by the road agent, who thinks it is of suitable quality for that area.
Did you run this by rec as well, get their input on it?
Yep, Rec is comfortable with it.
Yeah. Okay.
We're just happy the fence is getting replaced.
Okay.
Yeah. Was there already an easement there? Is this a modification of an existing easement, or is this granting him?
No, so it's our right of way, right? It's our town land to get into your
Okay.
fields. They have an easement where their structure is along the route of the property owners. But now we'll be actually granting them an easement down our,
Gotcha.
So it's an
Right
access
away.
easement.
yes.
Well, that's because the previous easement or the right-of-way to get back there is still there. And that comes off Route 3, it goes by the Henderson house.
Right.
And that has not been maintained or done anything for years.
Yep.
The best way in there is through this access easement here.
Yep.
This makes sense.
Yep, that's very logical. So they're gonna replace the entire fence section along
The right
Mrs.
side.
LaSalle's house, Ms. LaSalle's house, and put a
Yes.
gate at the end where the pole is, so if they ever have to do anything again, they have easy access to it and they don't have to,
Goes along the back of the houses?
Yes,
that's.
Correct.
Is that,
It's a big fence.
yeah,
It's a lot
it's
of money.
almost 300 feet of fencing.
It's a lot of fence.
We've had replaced sections over there for the years too, it's fallen in.
Yeah.
Oh, look nice.
It's getting old.
Would have been nice if they replaced one on the left side too, but they didn't
we
touch it.
tried.
We
Okay.
want everything.
I do have
Yes.
a question.
Yep, please.
It's dated May 24th, this quote. Now, a wood fence, I agree, but this quote's good for 10 days. But it does say it's aluminum and everything else can go up, but it's wooden fence, right? So is it
It-
still about this 11,000?
It
Well, it's
is, and we
12,000.
have checked the quote, they are holding it for us.
Okay, good. All right, it's at 10 days, I'm just checking. All right, thanks.
I'll make a motion to approve the easement on map 9, lot 42, 13 and a half Brickyard Street in exchange for the payment in the amount of $11,968 to replace the existing fence on the right side of the right-of-way.
I think it's supposed to be Brickyard Road.
I agree.
13,
Brickyard Road.
Yeah. Can we amend that to say,
Brickyard Road.
yes.
is it Brickyard Road?
I drive it every
Yes.
day, I'm pretty sure it's Brickyard Road.
Okay. So this says street, so we'll just.
It's your neck of the woods, Steve.
Yeah.
All you had to do is just change the sign and no one will notice.
Okay, all right, so make a motion for
I'm sorry,
Brickyard, we'll just change
Yep.
that to Brickyard.
Brickyard Road, yeah,
Okay.
Brickyard Road.
I believe our easement says street,
Okay,
so we'll get the easement changed as well.
okay. So we have a motion from Mr. Weber,
I'll second it.
second from Mr. Lynch. Any further discussion?
Oh, Brickyard Drive, sorry.
Brickyard Drive, that's
Drive.
right.
We'll all have it
round
wrong.
Yeah. so
Straight.
Change it to Brickyard
To
Drive.
drive.
Yeah, please.
Oh, you checked, that's wrong on that thing.
So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 500. I just X'd out of my whole screen. Hit the wrong X. There we go.
And that's the quote from Penny
So
Fence, I
tech-savvy.
mean Fence Company and everything else.
Next up, we have the amendment for the hawkers and peddlers ordinance. Final copy.
Yes,
All right.
at the last meeting, you had asked that we add actually two remarks. First, the one being that if an individual is issued a license under this ordinance, they are required to contact the town of Litchfield Selectmen's office to update any information contained within the application. And that the license plate information must be current and on file, so we added that to the. We also added the license, if issued, should be displayed upon the dash of the vehicle while doing business within the town of Litchfield. So those two were added at your request. Other than that, the application has been reworked so that it flows nicely, but it's basically the same information. We would like to ask Mr. Brunel to put it online
Yep.
with the policy. And then again, the major change is we will be taking this off of the LPD's plate and having people file this with Donna, who will start the process and send it to fire and police and then initially to the board.
Is there a way where residents can see what hawkers and peddlers licenses are out there, so if they see somebody walking around?
Can we list it on the website?
Is it listed?
Yes,
Is that possible?
I mean, have a current list for, because it's generally good for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have a list and when that license expires. Will work.
You good with that, John?
It's
Stop
not a
coming to
lot.
our meetings, you keep getting more work.
Well, it's not a major thing.
No.
That makes
No,
sense.
But it is one of those things where if people wanna know, you know, who is this person walking around?
Yep.
Yeah, we get it all the time. There's a car parked at the street, something like that, you know.
Yep.
It doesn't have a handicap sticker on it, something, you know, what do you wanna call it?
So, do we need a motion to approve this? I don't have
Yes.
a motion with my stuff here.
I make a motion, we approve it.
Because of Peddler's application. Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Lynch. Need a second?
I'll second.
Second from Ms. Queenan. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Next up. Oh, another appointment. Fire Chief Doug Nickel to Emergency Management Director.
Yeah, it's common practice.
So, as you all know, when Chief Retzel was here, he was the emergency management director. We felt that the fire chief, in speaking with Mr. French and myself and the fire station personnel, that fits best. Mr. Chief Nichols works very closely with emergency management at the state, as does LPD, but in most communities, it happens to be the fire chiefs, that happens to be a role that they fill. Mr. Nickel did learn quite a bit from the former chief, and his second person that he would work closely with would be Mr. Clancy and Mr. Kelly, so that they could share the duties that this would involve. But Chief Nichols felt very comfortable with taking it on, if that was something that the board saw. I will say he has already reached out to the state emergency team to see where we are with our grant to update the plan and where we need to be. So, I mean, he's already actively reached out and got information for the town on how to proceed forward.
Does anybody have anything on
Is
this?
this a yearly appointment, or is this he's appointed until we make a motion or he makes a motion?
I think it's yearly, right?
It's yearly.
Yeah, it's yearly. We have to
Like a
do-
road agent or.
Every year. Commonly in a town, most towns like of our size, it's the fire department, because we don't have an EMS program. Some cities and towns, or bigger towns, they have an EMS, the emergency management director, may not be just the fire, it'd be the medic, which is part of the whole process too, because it's more of a medical time when you get into this. So, you see that a lot. But for here, for Litchfield, Doug, sounds simple.
So would it be like from now till next year, or does it get refreshed at like in
Right,
January?
until March, we'd bring them forward, like we do with the road agent and
Okay.
others. He couldn't be here tonight, so we'd bring him forward anyways to, just get him sworn in at your next meeting. But I thought it made sense. We're trying to get some of these, especially the work on updating the plan, in the works. So if he could start attending some things on our behalf, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I've always felt that should be with the fire department. I mean, they do have the command vehicle, which is the situation vehicle, and I've thought that for a long time. I have full confidence in Doug to do this.
I have no problem. I'll make a motion, we appoint Doug.
So should we make a motion to appoint Chief Douglas Nickel as the Emergency Management Director
Correct.
until March 2024?
It's only good for a year.
Second.
Yeah.
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon and a second from Mr. Weber. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Thank Doug for doing this for us.
It rained out, he didn't wanna go out.
I thought maybe he was at the Blue Hair Special at Friendly's.
I wasn't gonna go there.
We forgot one.
What?
We forgot one.
We forgot one what?
Social media.
Number
policy.
7.
Oh, social media policy. we're gonna go back to that. Ms. Kleiner.
So this policy was brought to you on June 12th after much discussion, and Mr. Brunel and I have met. We've discussed it a few times. It would be my recommendation that we look forward at the legal opinion that you received, kind of put this off to the side. I think that it may need some rework.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, no, that was a point you had brought up.
Yeah.
You wanna-
Yeah, so I wanted to make the motion to postpone this agenda item until after the Board of Selectmen has had an opportunity to review the advice of legal counsel and meet with legal counsel if needed.
I will second.
Okay, that's over here.
So we have a motion from Ms. Queen and a second from Mr. Weber. Anybody else have anything? No? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 500. I think it's important because we just got that, so we need to be able to go through it and look at it. You had asked to see it. Is it all right if he sees it?
If the board is willing to waive attorney-client privilege.
I don't have a problem with he being the IT man. I think he should look at it.
I believe the IT manager should have visibility into the policy as well.
The policy he'll see, this is the legal opinion.
Legal opinion, yeah.
Than what we got the other day. Yeah, can you forward that to him, please?
I can.
Thanks. Okay, okay, so now we can move on to Economic Development Committee, schedule first meeting. Ms. Kleiner again.
So we have heard from now all of the boards that you originally requested to be part of the Economic Development Committee. We did have Selectman Queenan as one representative. I wasn't sure if there was a second representative from the Board of Selectmen. I know we had two for the energy, but so
I think one's good. We should have a backup, I would say.
most of the committees did, so the planning board has an alternate. Mr. Sorensen is standing in for the zoning board, but Ms. Gandia would be there if
Okay.
needed. Diane Plansky with Jason Brennan as her alternate. And Recreation Commission is going to be Peter Ames.
Mhm.
And then Jay and I as staff.
Okay.
So if that's acceptable, we would think that the next step would be to set the first meeting. I know this week is not good. So maybe perhaps we wait until after the 4th of July.
Do you have a night that there's no meetings here, or?
There really isn't a night.
How often is
There's no-
CIP meeting?
So they meet the first Monday of every month, so there could be
The third?
third
Third.
ZBA.
Thursday's the last month of the third month, I think it's open on Thursday.
I think that's what I just
ZBA would
offered,
be that one,
Heritage,
yeah.
right?
Probably. It gets conflict when you have budget season.
Yeah.
Right.
And it'll be a long meeting because this is planning, right? This is not a 20-minute meeting. It's a full meeting.
Right.
So to try to push it like in front of the SIP, it just would be tough to get.
Right, I wouldn't advise it, but perhaps if we could email and try to find a date for the initial meeting that would fit for everyone, and then, once we're together, sit and John and
It's gonna be
I.
hard to get everybody
There's also the
here.
community room.
With all the other
Oh, yeah.
members being on other committees
That's a
and
good call.
groups, it's gonna be hard.
Unless they meet
Yeah.
pre or post planning board night. But again, we have to check with people's schedules.
So
You got a Sunday or Monday is available?
if it was Thursday, a budget night, I don't believe, well, other than when we get into the budget season.
Get into
Not like the
September, it'll
You
be different.
disappear.
September, October, yeah.
Yes, you've got a member from each
Okay,
committee.
so you just have to work that out.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think we should move forward with it, and we should get it get it moving.
So,
Okay.
so for the planning board, we're working on small zoning ordinance changes, as we're not doing anything with land use or anything until after that committee gets going, because their input is gonna go into those decisions. So for warrant articles, those are all gonna wait, right? They have to.
You have to.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so you wanna just try and figure out a night,
Yes,
reach out to everyone on the list and, okay.
yes.
Do we have anyone that would, be willing to step forward to back up Kim if she couldn't make it some night?
Yo. Put my name in there.
Is Steve down thank you, Steve.
Do?
Down for an alternate?
Appreciate it, Steve.
Yep.
I'm not a numbers guy when it comes to that stuff.
Okay. It'll be good to get that moving.
Okay.
I think we're all done jumping around.
You got the agenda done, now we gotta get into the boss's
Yep.
reports.
Next up, we have town administrator and selectmen reports.
So, last week was the municipal manager conference. It was very helpful. So there was Drummond and Woodsum there who gave us a lot of labor law updates. The gist of it is if there is a group that is performing work, you cannot ask that group to perform similar work as a volunteer.
Can
Say
you
that again?
please repeat that?
I'll give it an example.
Okay.
This is just an example. It's an example that was used at the conference.
Okay.
So, if you have a Litchfield police officer and their job is to direct traffic during an event or during, construction, if they are performing a service similar to a duty that they would already perform, you cannot ask them to volunteer or allow them to volunteer their time.
Really?
They are a paid employee. And there are towns that have gotten into
Does this come from the union?
No, this comes from New Hampshire Labor.
Point being?
So they can't even volunteer on their own? We can't allow, that's
They could
interesting.
volunteer not in their uniform.
Not in,
Not as a
Position.
Litchfield
Gotcha.
police officer.
But don't we have police in our town work at a different town? Don't I see?
No,
Don't I see
they're
other
paid.
police officers?
paid.
So
This is-
they're
this is
paid.
Okay, so you're
volunteer
saying
work.
volunteer,
Yeah,
okay,
they're
gotcha,
paid
all right.
detail work.
Gotcha.
Yes,
Sorry.
very different, yes.
Yeah, very
A
different.
lot of our community events, they'll go. at no
Where it
cost.
gets different is if it's a call firefighter, because call firefighters are technically a different classification. It could be, which I understand it gets a little, strange.
Could they donate their earnings back?
That was not asked. But we asked a lot of questions as could they perform a different service, right? So, for instance, if it's John, just using John. Well, no,
Since
he's a
you're
bad
sitting here.
example. He's a contractor. So, if it's myself, could I go and volunteer to?
Face paint.
Yes. Yes, because it's nothing I would do every
a duty.
day.
It's not a
That's it can't be a duty you perform as a general.
You can
Part of
perform
your
as a,
business.
you can be a cop and be there, and like, you always have at events, is crossing guards, there's parking detail, all that, and that's what the police really do in a sense, okay? But you have somebody else, maybe with a uniform, who's just volunteering, There's a gray area to that, I can imagine, everything has a little gray on it.
Well, a point, I mean, something I would bring up is like, a policeman very often is directing traffic. And I know that some long-term people that lived in this town who passed away, in the large funeral processions, policemen have volunteered to come down in uniform and block off
Correct.
sections. So you're saying they can't do that?
Under the law that they cited to us. Now, I would make if that's a,
Can I say that I think that's a stupid law?
well, you can, I mean, you can't say I disagree, but, I think there were cases where people might have felt obligated and there were complaints, and so now they're siding on caution. They would
get
rather you not do it, just because
So,
should the employee ever report it.
in response to Bobby's, which I agree, stupid, if somebody wishes to come in and be a servant or a helpful person to the town or that person, that family, and volunteers his efforts, and does not wish to get compensated, can he sign something?